Every August, the quiet town of Sturgis, South Dakota, transforms into the center of the biker universe. Hundreds of thousands of riders roar into the Black Hills, chrome glinting under the sun, exhaust fumes hanging heavy in the air. For most, it's about freedom, the open road, and the celebration of motorcycle culture. But beneath the music, the leather, and the parades, there's another current, darker, more dangerous. For outlaw motorcycle clubs, Sturgis isn't just a rally. It's a battlefield, a stage where reputations are tested and rivalries often erupt into violence. In the summer of 2011, that stage was set for one of the most talked about confrontations in biker history, when the Hells Angels came face to face with the Twin Outlaws. What followed wasn't just another biker scuffle. It was a moment that showed just how deep the outlaw code runs. This is the story of what happened. The rivalry. To understand Sturgis 2011, you have to understand the war that's been raging for decades. The Hells Angels Motorcycle Club, founded in California in 1948, had become the most infamous outlaw biker club in the world. With their Death's Head patch, strict brotherhood code, and global network, they dominated the biker landscape like no other. Their fiercest rival, the Outlaws MC, the so-called Outlaws Nation. Founded even earlier in 1935, the Outlaws prided themselves on being the oldest outlaw motorcycle club still in existence. For decades, they fought bloody turf wars with the Angels over territory, drug markets, and prestige. The feud wasn't just occasional bar fights, it was war. Bombings in Chicago, shootouts in Florida, bodies left on highways. Every time the clubs crossed paths, there was the chance of blood. And Sturgis, with its international draw, meant there was no avoiding each other. Who were the Twin Outlaws? Among the outlaws rolling into Sturgis that year were two men everyone knew by sight, their presence enough to make other bikers whisper. They were brothers known simply as the Twins. Real names rarely mattered in outlaw circles. Nicknames told you everything you needed to know. The Twins were enforcers, men who lived for the code of the outlaws. They weren't leaders, but they were soldiers through and through. Fighters who'd earned their reputation in barroom brawls, club wars, and prison yards. The brothers were tall, broad-shouldered, with the kind of presence that filled a room. Matching black leather vests, matching patches, matching reputations. When you saw one, the other wasn't far behind. To the Outlaws, they were loyal, fearless, and dependable. To the Hells Angels, they were marked men, faces associated with past clashes and bloody nights. And when word spread that the Twins had been spotted at Sturgis, it didn't take long for the Angels to respond. The lead up the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally isn't just a single event, it's a week-long storm. Bikes line the streets for miles, bars are packed wall to wall, tents, camps, and clubs host parties that rage until sunrise. For outlaw clubs, these rallies are delicate balancing acts. Everyone knows the rules. Don't draw too much attention. Don't bring heat down on the patch. But when the beer flows and egos collide, the rules can crumble fast. On August 9th, 2011, the night started like any other. Bands playing on Main Street, riders cruising under neon lights. But inside one of the most notorious biker bars near the Strip, the Outlaws walked in, and with them, the Twins. Hells Angels were already inside. Red and white patches lined the walls. Instantly, the tension could be felt. You could cut it with a knife. Patrons say the music seemed to get quieter. Conversation stopped. Everyone knew something was about to go down. The confrontation. At first, it was just stares. Cold, silent, unblinking. The kind of looks that outlaws trade before fists fly. One angel leaned over the bar, his knuckles white around a beer bottle. An outlaw shifted in his seat, squaring his shoulders. Then the Twins stepped forward. They weren't looking to slip out the back. They wanted to be seen. They wanted everyone to know the Outlaws weren't afraid to walk into Angel territory. Witnesses say one of the Angels stood and barked a challenge. The words were lost in the noise, but the meaning was clear. "This is our house." The first punch flew. No warning. A bottle smashed, and then chaos erupted. Tables overturned, chairs crashed to the floor. Outlaws and angels collided in a storm of fists, boots, and blades. The twins fought like men possessed, swinging wildly, backing each other up, moving like a single unit. Every time one went down, the other pulled him back up. But the angels had numbers, and in the outlaw world, numbers matter. Someone pulled a chain, someone else drew a knife. The fight spilled out into the parking lot, boots scraping on asphalt, engines rumbling as bikes got knocked over. And then, gunfire. 3 shots cracked through the night, freezing the crowd. People screamed, diving for cover. When the smoke cleared, one outlaw lay bleeding on the pavement. The twins were still standing, but barely. The aftermath sirens wailed through the night as Sturgis police and federal agents swarmed the scene. In minutes, the bar was locked down, the parking lot taped off, and bikers pressed against patrol cars as weapons were confiscated. The outlaw who'd been shot was rushed to the hospital. He survived, but the message was clear. Sturgis wasn't just a party, it was a war zone waiting to ignite. The twins were arrested, along with several angels. The charges ranged from assault to weapons possession. But as with most outlaw cases, proving who swung the first punch, who fired the gun, who did what, that was almost impossible. By the time the courts were done, most of the men walked with lighter charges, fines, or probation. The code of silence held firm. No one talked. No one snitched. But the scars of that night went deeper than any police report. Why it mattered to the public, it was just another biker brawl. But to the outlaw world, it meant everything. The Hells Angels had made their stand in Sturgis, refusing to back down on their turf. The Outlaws had sent their enforcers straight into the lion's den, proving they weren't afraid of the red and white. And the twins? They cemented their reputation, legends in their own right, remembered not just for surviving the fight, but for standing shoulder to shoulder against impossible odds. Law enforcement, meanwhile, used the incident to push for more surveillance, more crackdowns, more federal funding for biker task forces. For them, Sturgis wasn't a celebration, it was proof that outlaw clubs were still as violent as ever. Reflection. The Sturgis Rally continues every year. The bands play, the riders gather, the chrome still gleams in the South Dakota sun. But for those who were there in 2011, the memory lingers. The sound of bottles breaking, the sight of leather vests colliding, the echo of gunshots in the night. It's a reminder that beneath the image of freedom and rebellion, outlaw motorcycle clubs live by a code written in blood. And when the Hells Angels confronted the Twin Outlaws, the world got another glimpse into that hidden world. A world where loyalty means everything, and where every rally could be your last. The legacy. Even years later, bikers who were there still talk about the night the Twins and the Angels clashed in Sturgis. Around campfires, in garages, and in outlaw clubhouses across the country, the story gets retold. Sometimes exaggerated, sometimes downplayed, but always remembered. For the Angels, it was another battle in a war they'd been fighting for generations. For the Outlaws, it was proof that their soldiers would never back down, no matter the odds. And for the Twins, that night sealed their place in outlaw lore. Their names might never appear in history books, but inside the Brotherhood, they live on as symbols of defiance. But the legacy of that night isn't just about pride or myth, it's also about escalation. After Sturgis 2011, law enforcement doubled their surveillance on both clubs. Undercover agents moved deeper into biker circles, listening, waiting, documenting. The feds knew that if violence could erupt in front of thousands at the world's biggest motorcycle rally, then it could erupt anywhere. The result? More raids, more arrests, more RICO cases aimed at tearing outlaw motorcycle clubs apart from the inside. The confrontation at Sturgis wasn't the first clash between the Hells Angels and the Outlaws, and it won't be the last. Their war stretches across decades, states, and even continents. But in the end, the story of the Twins reminds us of one thing. In the outlaw life, reputations aren't built on words. They're built on nights like this, where you either stand or you fall. This was Hells Angels confront the Twin Outlaws at Sturgis. Here's what happened. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a story from the outlaw world.